Twice a year, one of the wealthiest and most influential people on the planet, Bill Gates, completely vanishes. He doesn't bring a smartphone, a laptop, or a security detail. He retreats to a hidden, rustic cabin in the Pacific Northwest. For an entire week, he stays in absolute, ringing silence. This ritual is called the Think Week. The only things Gates brings with him are a pen, a notepad, and a massive stack of scientific papers and books. Why would a man with access to the greatest minds on earth pay a premium to simply be left alone? In the modern world, loneliness is viewed as a flaw. If you are alone, society assumes you are socially unsuccessful, depressed, or lacking communication skills. But if we look closely at human history, we uncover a strange anomaly. The most profound breakthroughs, the greatest literature, and the most revolutionary businesses were built by people who deliberately locked themselves in from the world. Elon Musk often recalls his youth in interviews, stating, "I was considered quite strange. At parties, I would just go to a back room and read an encyclopedia. I read 2 books a day while my peers were learning how to socialize." Why do people with high intellect voluntarily choose isolation? Today, we won't look at this phenomenon through the lens of melancholy. Instead, we will examine it through hard science, the neurobiology of dopamine, evolutionary psychology, and the high-performance concept of monk mode. Chapter 1: The Neurobiology of Dopamine. The molecule of intelligent isolation. To understand how a thinker's brain works, we must look at the seminal work of Dr. Daniel Lieberman and Michael Long, The Molecule of More. The authors explain that dopamine is not the molecule of pleasure. It is the molecule of anticipation, pursuit, and anticipation. In individuals with highly developed intellects, the dopamine system operates differently. An average person receives a steady dopamine hit from basic social interactions, an approving glance, a notification on social media, gossip about a neighbor, or casual small talk at a bar. Evolutionarily, this was necessary to survive within the tribe. But in minds prone to deep analysis, the brain adapted a different route. Professor of psychology Gregory Feist, in his extensive research on creativity, proved that highly intelligent individuals experience massive dopamine releases from what he calls intellectual foraging. When you are solving a complex problem, writing code, analyzing market trends, reading a dense book, or building a concept, your brain is literally flooded with dopamine. And here lies the conflict. Everyday social banter, talking about the weather, complaining about traffic, or discussing other people's lives, acts as informational noise to an analytical mind. In his book, Lieberman notes that when the brain is overwhelmed by cheap, immediate dopamine triggers, it loses its capacity for long-term planning and deep focus. The intelligent person chooses isolation not because they hate people. They choose it because their brain is protecting its dopamine receptors from burning out. For them, it is far more rewarding to invest mental energy into a complex challenge than to waste it on maintaining polite, empty conversation. Chapter 2: The Evolutionary Price of Intellect. Let's take a step back and look at evolution. In 2016, the British Journal of Psychology published a groundbreaking study by evolutionary psychologists Satoshi Kanazawa and Norman Lee titled The Savannah Theory of Happiness. They analyzed data from over 15,000 individuals to determine how population density and the frequency of socialization affect life satisfaction. The results were staggering. For most people, frequent socialization with friends directly correlates with happiness. The more they hang out, the better they feel. However, for the group with exceptionally high IQs, the researchers found the exact opposite correlation. The more frequently intelligent people socialized with their friends, the less satisfied they were with life. Kanazawa and Lee explained this using evolutionary mismatch. Our ancestors lived in the African savanna in groups of about 150 people. In those harsh conditions, being alone meant certain death. The average human brain still lives in this savanna paradigm. It constantly needs reassurance that it is part of the pack. However, individuals with high intellect adapt faster to the modern, technological world. Their brains recognize that to survive and achieve monumental goals in the 21st century, one no longer needs to sit around a campfire exchanging social pleasantries. An intelligent person is fully capable of solving technological, economic, or artistic problems completely solo. Their brain has evolutionarily outgrown the primitive need for constant crowds. For them, isolation is a sign of adaptive strength, not weakness. Chapter 3: The Monk Mode Effect and the Cost of Genius. In modern Silicon Valley, there is a massive cultural trend called monk mode. Entrepreneurs, software engineers, and writers consciously go into digital and social exile for periods ranging from a few weeks to several months. One of the leading voices of this movement, computer science professor Cal Newport, introduced the term deep work in his best-selling book Deep Work: Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World. Newport argues that the ability to concentrate on a cognitively demanding task without distraction is the ultimate superpower of our generation. But this superpower requires absolute isolation. When you are constantly accessible, your brain suffers from a phenomenon scientists call attention residue. If you quickly check a text or chat with a colleague, and then sit down to write a project, a portion of your working memory is still processing that previous interaction for the next 20 minutes. You are operating at a fraction of your capacity. The great psychiatrist Carl Jung, to write his most revolutionary theories, built a stone tower in the quiet village of Bollingen. It had no electricity and no running water. He chopped his own wood, cooked over an open fire, and wrote books in absolute solitude. Jung called this the path to individuation, the process of discovering your true self, which is impossible while surrounded by the noise of others. Nikola Tesla took it even further. He famously stated, "The mind is sharper and keener in seclusion and uninterrupted solitude." Originality thrives in seclusion free of outside influences. Solitude is the secret of invention. Solitude is when ideas are born. Your room is your laboratory. If you frequently catch yourself preferring an evening alone with a book, a passion project, or your thoughts over a loud night out, stop blaming yourself for being antisocial. The loneliness of an intelligent person is not social failure. It is the construction of a laboratory for your mind. It is a conscious choice in favor of high-quality, long-term dopamine over cheap, immediate gratification. As the French philosopher Blaise Pascal noted all the way back in the 17th century, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. When Bill Gates returns from his cabin after a Think Week, he brings back strategies that alter the course of global technology and philanthropy for years to come. Your solitude is not a prison. It is your hidden superpower. Learn to protect it from the noise of the world. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me. I'll see you in the next quiet room.